Relic Entertainment and the old one of the best publishers out there, Sega, no more than a few hours ago, finally came out and announced once again the next installation to their real-time strategy franchise Company of Heroes 3. Technically, the sequel has stated that will work both for veterans and all newcomers in overall gameplay after nearly a decade now, with 2 different campaigns, multiplayer, and a release date of November 17, 2022. Check it out.
We were told to take a nearby Flak 88. Blowing up the artillery was the only way we could hold our position. We accomplished our mission, but not without losses. And this long day had just begun. While we led the main front, they dropped in paratroopers to stop any German reinforcements. They never saw them coming.
Cut him down! Covering fire! Take out that target!
Caught in the open. They never stood a chance.
It is time, Lord Theodric.
I know. I just never thought I'd take up arms and leave home again.
Coming up behind that, THQ Nordic also finally released a new trailer for the Valiant, showcasing the characters, how it'll all work, the abilities, and etc. Valiant is, well, for those of you new, a squad-based real-time strategy game set in 13th century Europe with a single-player campaign and a co-op multiplayer. It is literally coming to every single platform except Switch sometime later this year.
An old man.
More fighting, less talking, boy.
I owe you one.
You owe me much more than one axe.
Take cover! Advance! After me!
God have mercy, there are so many. The hour of reckoning is at hand, friends.
Aye, but at least we get to go out in a blaze of glory, lad.
Do we fight or flee?
Lord, battle is upon us. Fight with God in your heart!
At number 3, well, this is probably since the beginning of 2022 a thing now. We have a strategy game here called Block Lords, and what developers of which describe to be a blockchain meets medieval metaverse and a first of its own kind blend of strategic choices and world-building gameplay. Anyway, not really much to talk about with this one, to be frank, except it's for PCs, probably for mobile devices too, not really sure, and due out in the next few months. On the other hand, we have City of Atlantis, not so recently announced but brand new asymmetric city building survival game, and actually for once a game that's set in the mythical land of Atlantis, which if you've heard probably by now was a real thing, and then one day just vanished from the face of the earth as a city. Anyway, to celebrate this announcement, the fine folks at the team also came up with a trailer. However, in terms of a release, all we know is that the game is coming to PCs and no release date whatsoever, so just keep it in mind for now.
native Fremen dream of creating a green Arrakis.
At number 5, we have here with the new trailer, actually one of the most anticipated science fiction strategy games in the making, Dune Spice Wars, which is now including multiplayer support after the recently released first early access update. In case of a little bit of a heads up, Dune Spice Wars actually a pretty well received game in early access. For those of you who missed it, is now sitting on Steam for about $30 and set to be released fully by the end of 2022. Check it out, here's even a new trailer.
While learning to survive its punishing sun, distracts them from those who lurk in the shadows. Smugglers, who above all desire profit by turning the tables. The board is set. The Spice War begins.
Coming up behind that, we have something here called Lesara, probably Summit Kingdom, a city building game mainly where you need to establish towns and cities and all kinds of places in order to bring peace to a bunch of people. See, I think if you're not really keen to strategy games, you just play on and off, it could be something for you. Technically, it has one of the best graphics for a strategy game right now, and like I said, mainly just a city building game. Lesara probably is due for PCs only, and we know it is releasing early next year. On the other hand, we have once again here Viking City Builder, technically just a classic city building game with elements of real-time strategy as stated by developers, a strategy game with a hefty amount of focus on graphics. Like literally this is the first strategy game that uses ray tracing and mainly as a hunting game when it comes to actual core gameplay. Check it out, the game is available through a demo on Steam right now and set to be coming out early to mid 2023.
A real-time strategy and build-up game, built on a 30-year legacy of exploration, expansion, and conquest. Now fully reimagined from the ground up.
Coming up behind that, well, we've got once again the much awaited Settlers, Ubisoft's own strategy IP that dates back to more than 30 years ago, which was previously due for release on March 17 this year for the reboot, which unfortunately didn't happen, but all for a good reason. See, instead now the game will release either late 2022 or early next year, but now with further improvements and polish in core gameplay. Ubisoft also then came out and said that they will provide an update on the release date real shortly. So just keep it in mind.
Between 3 new factions, each with their own unique playstyle and appearance. Find and gather resources. Shape transport networks to improve your economy. And craft the tools and weapons needed to expand your settlements. New specialized settlers now open a world of possibilities, enabling you to fast-track constructions, survey the land, and uncover precious resources. Expand your borders, and even steal from your enemies. Train and upgrade your settlers to overcome even the toughest opponents in a deep, story-driven campaign or across thrilling multiplayer battles.
On the other hand, 1C Entertainment just came out and announced another new game only days ago, something I'm pretty sure maybe a few of you at least here have been waiting to hear more about. See, Man of War 2, which is a real-time strategy game and also the sequel to the original Man of War that came out in 2019. This time around, see, the story will take place during World War II. It'll be playable in a single player, obviously, and in co-op with up to 5 players, and eventually due out for PCs around holidays this year. Take a look.
Since the first pioneers changed the harshest aspects of our world, every generation has upheld the solemn promise of our forefathers.
At number 10, we've what's described by its developers as a hardcore science fiction and space-bound real-time strategy game as something very different from the likes of other strategy games like Homeworlds. Something here going by the name Falling Frontier. This is how the game really looks, and the fact that it is available to be wishlisted only on Steam and set to be released by March 2023. Take a look.
We have but a singular purpose: to establish peace and security for all mankind.
The war between Mars and Titan devastated our solar system. Lead the survivors to Demaret, where you will continue Falling Frontier's storyline campaign in orbit of
Burning heart of the sky, hear my wailing.
Alright guys, coming up behind that we've got once again actually Gourd, which I've mentioned this one probably a month ago, as what developers of which describe to be a single-player adventure strategy game featuring developing societies with a dash of good old fantasy, where you get to technically complete quests and manage settlements and different races by choosing a wide range of scenario options. Here's some in-game footage. This game's set to be coming to PCs only in sometime later this year.
I remember the Kartoba, an island in a dune sea. I remember the Guide Stone, the Diamond Shoals, the Sisters of Balcora spinning 100 billion stars, the Song of the Core. I remember opening the gates.
We have once again here, for those of you new, Homeworld 3, well, technically the sequel to one of the most famous series of real-time strategy games of all time, and now, well, basically the first fully 3D game since 1999 in the series' lifetime, but actually all with the old elements that the series has always been known for. Check it out, the game's on its way to PCs only early to mid 2023, and this is how it really looks.
Was it so long ago? No, not so long. But not long enough.
I am waiting for my day to come.
On the other hand, for those of you who've actually been patiently waiting, see, Prime Matter, the really fine folks behind the upcoming game Gungrave Gore, actually just this past week went on to drop another trailer and an actual update into Crossfire Legion. You all know, a real-time strategy PvP based game that's been sitting on Steam since May this year with a lot of mixed reviews, and said now that the game will have a ton of new improvements, a hefty amount of new content, and a full release by the end of 2022. So just keep it in mind for now if you're a fan.
Finally becoming reality.
I still believe in what New Horizons stands for.
The wasteland is a desolate place, devoid of life, until the first turbine is constructed.
Moving on, we've got another brand new trailer for the upcoming and pretty recently announced strategy game by Devolver Digital, a game called Terra Nil that was technically aired through the Direct Showcase earlier this year as a reverse city building game about ecosystem restoration. Terra Nil doesn't have a release date yet, however you can actually play a demo for this game on Steam right now and expect a November to December full release at its earliest. Check it out.
In the most inhospitable of places, life finds a way. We just need to give it a helping hand. This is Terra Nil.
Welcome to Manor Lords.
Let's get to work!
In this video, I'd like to introduce you to some of the core mechanics of the game, including regional development, trade, and military recruitment.
We need more workers here.
And last but not least, it's an almost 3-year-old announcement of an IP, well, Manor Lords, which is a medieval strategy game that blends in realistic city building and tactical combat all while taking place in real time, and with the aim, well, according to developers, not my words, to portray battles that feel real in pretty large scales at a time. Manor Lords, well, is set to be coming out to PCs only and due out December 2022. Finally.
For farming. Some for mining. And some will process the resources to make expensive goods, like shoes or clothing. Depending on the optimization of your production chains, the price of the goods will change, affecting the market attractiveness. Free merchants will travel more frequently to towns that have rare and more affordable goods. These merchants are the only way to get wealth in the game. Lord's treasury, however, is split from the regional wealth. As the lord or lady, you must tax your towns and villages in order to get money for your personal endeavors. There are different taxes giving various benefits. For example, the tithe goes straight to the church, but in return, the church gives you influence. Every so often, the king gives out valuable rewards to the most influential lords on the map.